Lance Allen.
And I'm Stephanie Allen.
And this is Geek Week News.
Emperor Palpatine looks like one of those floating flesh balls from Big Trouble in Little China now. He just floats around, giggling and hiding in corners. When he burps, lightning comes out, but he does not like it. It looks like it hurts. It might be a fart.
As long as it hurts him, though, right? Unbeknownst to many, Kylo Ren runs a jigsaw puzzle club on the weekends between conquering worlds. He's always shown an aptitude for taking the littlest piece and envisioning a much bigger, if inaccurate, picture. Fellow players have learned not to say anything when he forces two clearly mismatched pieces together.
That happens a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Poe Dameron has been spotted going into battle with a glue gun. The battle has apparently interrupted his crafting time and he seems irritated about it. I think some stormtroopers are going to get their helmets glued together. Let a man craft.
That's just one of the worst things, when your crafting time gets interrupted, isn't it?
Sacred.
A recent study by the Coruscant Department of Education has determined that the starting training age for Jedi should begin much later than the usual preteen, and instead be pushed to about when they are legal to drink. They realized a pattern when the older new trainees, like Rey, failed to become a galactic dictator or a grumpy hermit turning his back on the galaxy.
But the robes are gorgeous. Ben Solo is a Skywalker. It's obviously him. Did you know that in Britain you just have to decide a new name and then it's legally yours? For example, if you like your mother more and you want her last name Exed, but hers kind of sounds like Organza or Organic and that does not really fit with your image, so then you remember that she was adopted and her born with last name is Skywalker, and that name not only checks off the I Love My Mom Better box, but it is also the name of your grandfather and hero, and you have just as much claim to it as any of your dead relatives. So then you think about the satisfaction that you will get to chop off the name Solo until you realize that if you keep it as a middle name, you are now known as Ben Solo Skywalker, walking on that sky solo. That's what he's doing.
The Coruscant Travel and Tourism Bureau has announced they will be exploring the idea of tour groups to previously undesirable worlds such as Tatooine and Jakku. When asked for a statement, they said, "Normally these backwater plans are undesirable locations for travel or sightseeing, but history is showing that many remarkable events are happening on these worlds, and people and historians are interested in them now. Who wouldn't want to visit the canyon Luke Skywalker shot those wombats with his T-16 Skyhopper, or visit the wreckage of the AT-ST that Rey used to live in, or see where Han famously shot first? No, to not pursue this avenue would be a hit against the business and a loss of possible revenue when there is an interest in these spots. We are also looking at other inhospitable worlds, and frankly, we are keeping our eyes on our plans just in case something interesting happens there. Imagine being able to send tourists to a location mere days after the event happens, or even being able to see great events as they happen. Imagine what we could have seen if we had video feed going on during the showdown between Anakin and Obi-Wan on Mustafar. Imagine if that had been pay-per-view. As of this broadcast, the Bureau has launched hundreds of probe droids across the galaxy to explore these possible unappreciated worlds. When approached for a comment, former Stormtrooper Finn simply said, "Why does everybody want to get back to Jakku?"
This has been Geek Week News. Stay sexy and don't skywalk alone.
Welcome to the newest part of Kaiju Labs Media Block Party. We're learning to roleplay and we're starting now. Welcome to the newest installment of Kaiju Labs, where we got our pilot episode for our brand new series, show called Learn to Roleplay, where we're going to take you through the wonderful world of roleplaying, starting from the Hey, It Sounds Cool to Session 0. That is what totally Season 1 is going to be about. We're going to break it down in 13 episodes. And, of course, with me right now, I have...
Jeff Triccolani.
And...
Courtney Manor.
As you guys may know, Courtney from various other shows. Jeff has been a veteran for gaming for a while, so Jeff, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I started gaming in 1981, the original red box set from Dungeons & Dragons.
Oh.
As a matter of fact, I still have my original dice the kind that you use the crayon to color in the numbers
Yes.
so you can see them. Yes, still have that.
Out of Ivory Bow.
Exactly. I've played numerous games. Started off with Dungeons and Dragons, obviously, but since then I've done the White Wolf systems. I've done, just about all of them. Palladium, GURPS, Hero, Cortex,
Kids on bicycles.
Kids on Bikes, Savage Worlds, a lot of Savage Worlds, and Star Wars and the whole bit. So.
Fantasy Flight Star Wars or Star Wars D6? I do have to ask that question.
So originally D6, but in the last couple of years it's been Fantasy Flight.
Fantasy Flight.
So it's been the new stuff.
Star Wars has one of those cases of which version of Star Wars were you playing? And Courtney?
Yeah, I'm Courtney Manor. I'm the youngest one out of the set, apparently, because I've only been gaming for about 9 years at this point.
Yeah, 9 years.
Mainly thanks to this guy right here. This
Yes.
is my husband. He's the one that introduced me to gaming. That's how we met. It's a total meet cute story. You'll catch that on the site later. But honestly, I've been gaming to the point where I've kind of integrated it into my career. I am writing for a couple of different systems at the moment, doing a couple of settings for them. Yes, there is a difference. We'll get to that later. But honestly, it was through gaming that I just kind of managed to focus my writing career into writing for game creation. The media has just been a fun part that you've got to see before my career kicked off. That's just a nice little fun, not side gig, but side gig for me.
You were also my guinea pig.
I'm also this guy's guinea pig, so I mean, what
Actually,
does
you're a
that
lot
say?
of people's guinea pig. You were like the lab.
I am the guinea pig.
You are the guinea pig. I'm just not even thinking. It's just not even me at this point. There are some people you've been the guinea pig for.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, and then there's of course there's myself. I am Pocky D from fan service. A lot of interviews. I've been with fan service Kaiju Labs now for so long that I keep forgetting that we're now rebranded. So yes, I've been with Kaiju Labs for a very long time. I've been role playing since D&D 3.0, which has been since 2001.
So I got about 20 years on you.
You got about 20 years on
Yeah.
me.
I wasn't born until 1987, just for the record.
But for me to be
I don't want to hear that.
To be fair for me though, it's because I've always lived in Leander, so the nearest gaming store has always been Dragon Slayer for me.
Well, you see, growing up in Fresno, California, we
yeah.
had one game store that was about 10 miles from us. We had to take a bus because we were too young to drive.
Oh, yeah.
And it was literally somebody's living room.
Yep.
Eh?
I remember the Dragon Slayer we went to was
That's how
literally a
Dragon
house.
Slayer
It was
Yeah.
the second Dragon Slayer was a house. Yeah, that sounds about right. I also the co-owner of LearnToRoleplay.com. There's the other owner is Courtney. LearnToRoleplay.com is kind of also what this show is based off of, so that's always going to be fun to go to. I also do a panel at cons called How to Roleplay Your Fandom and Make It Good. We changed the title from something else that everyone's like, hey, that's just too random and negative. I talk about how to get your favorite fandom and turn it into a role-playing game and figure out the tropes and everything.
The unofficial adaptations kind of thing, and how to make it
Functional?
actually functional, not just trying to shove Trigun or Digimon or whatever you into Dungeons and Dragons. Doesn't always work.
And then I also have done, mostly I'm a lot of GMing, actually. I'm the big GM of the group. I have a tendency to run some interesting, like, one-shots for various groups. I do teaching games at ChupacabraCon, because let's see, last 3 years I've done, 3 or 4 years, I've done 3 teaching games per con.
At least
awesome.
one a day.
At least one a day, and I also do the Savage Saturday Night. So I will do 4 to 5 games a con.
Yeah, sometimes they're not even on the schedule.
They're not even
Yeah,
on the
that's
schedule.
fine. We
That's
try to
fine.
have that kind of flexibility.
I-
Oh, by the way, I'm one of the organizers for ChupacabraCon,
Yeah, that's
in addition to all this other gaming. Turn my gaming into work, actually. But running a convention was a lot of fun.
Convention
It's a fun bit of work, right? It's like
It
turning
is.
my
It is.
gaming into writing.
So 2 years ago, when I was first getting super heavy, hey, I'm going to teach everyone how to play this game because everyone was getting confused. Some people were coming to the con and they didn't know what it was. Sheena goes, "Can you play some games? We think you're just here to work." I'm like, "No, I am having fun." She goes, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "Yes, no, I'm perfectly fine with this." As Courtney mentioned before, yes, we met through gaming. Wasn't really a fan of D&D 4.0, so I went to Shadowrun, which I love the lore of that game, so that's where we moved and Has like, hey, and I met her. I was like, hey, I'm going to do this game. Do you want to play a dwarf that dual wields pistols that can shoot shotgun shells? And she's all like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have a confession to make.
huh,
In all of my decades, apparently, of gaming, I have yet to play Shadowrun.
Oh wow.
wow.
I've played everything else.
Have you
but
played Warhammer?
Yes.
So you have about a quarter of the dice that you need in that case.
Played the Warhammer fantasy role-playing game,
But-
and also played Dark Heresy,
Yeah.
which is the Warhammer 40K role-playing.
But Warhammer uses a D6 base system, so does Shadowrun. Shadowrun.
Not anymore, it doesn't.
Shadowrun doesn't.
No.
Or not Warhammer.
Not Warhammer.
Okay. Well, okay. If you play the
Miniatures game.
miniatures
is what
game,
she's
Ah,
referring-
uses
yes.
D6.
Yeah, she's referring
good.
to the miniatures game. Sorry, not the role playing game, sweetie, made by Fantasy Flight also, or what.
And they're fond of their special dice.
They're
They are
fond of
very
their
fond of their
special
special
dice.
dice.
But no, this is at Shadowrun you need like every point you have is something you roll that many dice. Plus you can stack skills and
Did you bring
whatnot.
out my special bag of D6 or just my dice bag?
That's your dice back. That's right there.
Okay, my special. I have a bag dedicated to D6
Just because of that many
Shadowrun.
Shadowrun, yeah. Because you need a lot of d6. It's like you roll 12 d6 sometimes because you have 3 in sword, you have 3 fighting plus 3 in sword using plus you also have natural it's agility, so that's 4 in agility. So that's 3 plus 3 plus 4. So that's 10 dice plus the sword added is an extra 2 because
Yeah.
it's a sword. Oh, by the way, it's an imbued
Not to
sword, so
confuse
it's 2
y'all.
more sword. Yeah, 2 more dice. Yeah, it really catches up really fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll explain more of these systems in depth, but right now this is just the introduction
Yeah.
episode. You get to know us, because
So-
honestly,
Yeah,
We're
so
having
real
fun.
fast, let us explain what the show is about. We're basing it off loosely on a website that me and Cordy both run, and we're both writing articles for, and we encourage some other people if they want to write articles for us to let us know. And the premise is this: we're not going to teach you how to play D&D. I am not here to teach you how to play Shadowrun or Genesis or the Star Wars game or Shadow Fist or whatever Feng Shui, not Shadow Fist, Feng Shui or any of the other games. What we're here to talk about is how to get those games, how to be a cheerleader for those games, how to recognize what your players want, how to understand the difference between a system and versus a setting, versus what you want to play versus how you want to play it. We're going to get you from this after this episode, from episode 2 on. Our job is going to get you to issue 0. An episode
Session 0?
And session 0 is just explained to everybody. It is a session where everyone at this point sits at a table, makes characters, makes backgrounds, and the GM fully explains what is involved in the game.
yeah,
That's
the
going to be-
storyline they're starting with and things like that.
Right, and this is also probably where some hey, would you mind if I do this to your character, or how are you two meaning, or how are things. Basically, you know how like we're talking about,
Oh,
right?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the social contracts and everything, backstories, all the fun stuff that kind of develops your world before you even get a chance to step into it.
And the key thing being that it's really important for the GM to work with the players to coordinate that, and so they're all sharing
Oh yeah.
that experience.
So that's going to be episode 12 and 13. And that's going to be a big two-parter, and that's how we're going to end our season, is with Session 0. Before then, we're going to explain to you guys everything you need to know to basically, as both players and a GM, to get to that point. And we're going to have a little bit of fun and do some other stuff randomly with it also. So, some of the articles we already have on the website as of our recording is Welcome to the Family, which is my introduction to you guys role-playing, and also what you actually need to buy. And that's actually going to be an episode later for us, which is thing. But, Jeff, for you, what is the biggest misconception for what you think people have for role-playing?
Just simply what's involved. I don't think when they're first starting out, I don't think they necessarily understand what the point is behind getting around a table and sharing this experience. All right, a lot of folks go in thinking it's us versus them, the players against the GM or the GM against the players and that kind of thing, and it is not that at all. Right, it's all about a shared experience, developing a story, writing a book essentially together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
What do you?
I mean, it's that. I mean, we've already gotten past the whole chicks tracks days of D&D is evil and devil summoning.
I
No.
lived through that.
You lived through that. I'm glad you lived through that.
I actually have been reading a lot of. I'm actually tempted to write a thing about the Satanic Panic and how a lot of that started and how. For those who don't know, the Satanic
Okay.
Panic, and me and Jeff will both, because I lived during the 80s.
I'm too young for this part.
Yeah, too far for this part, but Jeff and I both, because I remember for rock and roll and for movies, because I was into horror movies and
Yeah.
you know all that. But basically, during the 80s, a psychological doctor, convinced everyone that D&D was satanic and was going to lead you to a murder. And this was because of an incident that we now know is the Mazes and Monsters incident. People call it some people call it the Mazes and Monsters incident. It's named after the actual gentleman. I forgot his name. He was played by Tom Hanks in the movie. Basically, he was an introvert. He had depression issues. He had big mental issues, and he was using D&D as self-medication to deal
Never
with
a
his.
good idea.
Never a good idea. He was also using other non-self things to be self-medicated over. It was turned out that he was doing drugs and whatnot. His character ends up dying after having a particularly bad day. This is part of the thing they leave out in the story in the movie. They just say his character dies, and he goes on and end up like going on crazy, kills a homeless person, nearly commits suicide. His family and his friends pull him back, and the court basically deems him insane, and he lives with his family. I don't know if he still lives with his family or whatnot, but I know that is the extent of it. That is the extent of my knowledge.
But that's a whole lot of mental illness. And the other misconception that I was getting to, before I mentioned the Satanic Panic and these two jumped in.
No, it's just that's.
It's a good thing to explain because it is a nice little bit of history. But that does bring up another thing, which is a lot of people play this, and you don't realize how many people play role-playing games. We've had several celebrities recently, like Joe Manganiello and his wife, Sofia Vergara. They have an entire section of their basement dedicated
His
to...
man cave is
His man cave, and she goes in there too because she likes playing with him, is dedicated to Dungeons and Dragons, and he's actually brought that to hospitals. About a year and a half ago, it was actually a big story in the news that he brought these games to one of his local children's hospitals to play, and everybody loved it. Nobody realized he was that into D&D at the time. Now it's just all over the place. It's not just like the nerdier celebrities like Will Wheaton. It is Vin Diesel.
It was a former basketball player of the San Antonio Spurs was a D&D fan. In fact, they had a cake made of that looked like the 3 books.
Yeah.
That was his like birthday cake.
Well, I cannot count how many military guys and girls I know.
The military loves role-playing games.
Because you just need one book, you have infinite number of
Hours
of
of
entertainment. And you don't need electricity, you don't need a lot of things. And there's also been, because of social media, a nice outpour of people. Like, I belong to a D&D group that are, it's not so much D&D, but it's called D&D with Family and Your Friends. And it's about, people like, hey, my 5-year-old kid wants to get into this, how do I do it? Or, hey, I've been D&Ding and my kid wants to get into it. How should I approach this? And for some of us, it's like, well, that's really easy. But it's like, but if you step back and think about it for a second, it's like, yeah, it's really easy for a group of adults because anything goes. But for kids, maybe you need to adjust it a little bit. And that is something we're also going to be talking about later in the game is in one of our episodes is how to address all that. Like I said, we have 13 episodes planned of this. This is episode 1. So it's going to be a lot of interesting stuff.
It's also very, very... It's used in therapies a lot. Not just the structured role-playing games like D&D or Savage Worlds, but also little one-shots that are meant to be therapeutic-based. That's a big thing in our community, especially Nordic LARPs. Not all of them are happy-feely LARPs. A lot of them are dark headspaces that you take a while to decompress from.
We actually had a gentleman at ChupacabраCon this year who was talking to a lot of the game developers about that very thing, because he was a therapist and he was using games in his therapy, and he wanted to talk to some developers about actually making a role-playing game specifically for that
therapies.
purpose. Yeah.
There's one called
Just kind of missed him then. I don't know if I got a chance to talk to him because that's
There's
like
there's a
fascinating.
game called Imagination where the heroes are a virus or something happens in London, like modern day London,
Mm-hmm.
and the only people who are immune to it are people with mental disorders.
Yeah.
But everyone else will literally go mad from it. Like you'll start hearing things. But the bigger your disorder, the more you're immune to it. But you have to
You
kind
have
of
to
keep
balance.
things balanced. Because if you start going too much normal heads, but like balance head, what they call balance headspace, because this was developed by two psychologists. You go into a kind of a balanced headspace, the things in the outside can start affecting you
Yeah.
because that's what they thrive on.
I actually have that on my PDF
Yeah.
files because I bought that at one point.
So some of the
Auditor was free at one point, but I have it.
So real fast, we are going to be talking about a lot of various games and a lot of various terms. We are having, as you can see here on the lower thirds, the lower thirds we're going to use is probably some prompts and whatnot, and maybe some jokes as long as we go on the way. But trust me, guys, if we say something and it we realize might be like a term we're all used to, but maybe not everyone else,
Lingo.
There will be definitions
there
down
will be
there.
definitions below.
I'm the one that has to edit them, so I will make sure to put them in.
So real fast, let's go ahead and talk about this real fast. ChupacabraCon, because we're always there.
We love ChupacabraCon.
So ChupacabraCon it happens the first weekend of May every year in Round Rock, Texas. And it's a great little convention where we have a lot of authors and game creators who are there to play games with their fans, play games with each other.
Yeah, that gets fun. when the creators get together, I've witnessed this, and it's just
Yeah.
like, it's hilarity.
We at this point we're at a 9-to-1 ratio. For every 9
Yes.
paid attendees, we have a
An
industry
author
guest. Yeah.
Nice.
That
And
doesn't include us, by the way.
yeah, that doesn't include us. But you will always find us. I'll always be doing teaching games for Savage Worlds and possibly some other systems coming up in the near future. And Courtney will be doing other stuff also.
I will definitely be at ChupacabraCon whether I'm running games for whatever it goes on or whether I'm representing whatever I've written that's come out.
And we have a reputation of just being a very relaxed, laid back
Very, very
game.
chill.
We-
I actually mentioned that in a comment earlier on mine. Like, hey, if you're looking to get your feet wet at a tabletop con, go to this one. Very
Yeah.
chill.
Most of our celebrity guests, our industry guests, come because they want to be there, not because we reach out and say, "Hey, you need to be there" or anything like that. They've come to one of our events. They had such a good time that they come back every year. And these folks are coming from the East Coast, the West Coast,
Colorado.
a lot from Denver.
Denver is like becoming the hub of where these. But you also have like every year we also have a you have a
Do you need to drink these?
no.
The charity game.
We have the charity
Charity
game, which every year,
which is-
and that's where all the your industry guests get to be weirder than normal. Chickens in the Mist is particularly one of the highlights.
That's the one I'm thinking of because
Yeah.
I just,
Well, Ed Vetterman does a great job.
yes.
Also, but every time before that, though, we always have the tailgate because there's a setting in Savage Worlds called ETU, which stands for the East Texas University.
Go
We have an
Ravens.
East Texas University tailgate party,
at
which we
ChupacabraCon.
all have to sing the song, and then all the industry people are just standing around, and everyone's just standing around playing stupid college games, but that are like really family friendly, like the beer pong table, but it's actually like gigantic buckets, and people are just chunking them in. And we're all eating, just having fun. There's always a charity auction every year that there have been some items on that list. I'm just going, I was out like 2 bids ago and it's still going.
So, ChupacabraCon is a charity event. We
It is a
raise
charity.
money for Extra Life. So everything that we make through the auctions to the charity events and the majority of our gate goes to Extra Life every year. And we also have the folks from the Mind's Eye Society, which is live action role playing, who have big events there every year, and they will usually outdo us in their donations.
auction.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think combined between Mind's Eye and our auction, we raised like 5,000 last year. Or am I under over? Am I under or over? I can't remember.
For last year, it was about 5,000.
Yeah, 5,000.
Yeah, the previous year was closer to 8.
Yeah.
But this year you're gonna have some. You have already started listing some guests, and it's like, you got who? You got what? Oh, they're coming back. That's awesome. Was it the first year Shane and them we had Round Rock? I know the Texas Savages, which is the big Savage Rolls group here in Texas. We have a big Discord and everything. Everyone was like, okay, who's bringing the Round Rock donuts? It's like Shane's getting bombarded. Like everyone's like Shane and Sean.
That was year 3 for us.
Yeah.
But the first year we held it in Round Rock. The first 2 years we were in Austin, which just got too pricey for us.
Yeah.
So we moved out to Round Rock. We love the location. They're treating us really well there. Hopefully we don't outgrow it, but we might.
Yeah. Well, if you keep being awesome.
If you keep being awesome, there is a brand new resort being built just down the road.
Yeah, we'll find out what they cost.
We'll see what that one looks like, but I'd like to stay in Round Rock.
I'd like to have money left over to give to the charity.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, you guys, like, we gave donuts. Like, everyone's always just super friendly and family there. Like, you know, there's always a couple outcasts, but you'll never... I have seen families who, like, their kids are just getting into this, and they had, like... You can see at first they're like... what are all these guys? Like, they'll see me in the giant beard. And when I GM, if you guys saw my GMing game, I stand. Because I don't sit down, because I need to, when I teach, I need to see everyone what they're doing.
Which is not uncommon for most GMs to stand during the session, but yeah.
Like, I'll even stand during a session. I'll kind of go between both.
I literally, one time during a game, had an NPC get mad and storm off. So I literally just stormed off of my table, just like, how dare you? And I literally had another person from booth who was just a couple tables away from me going, so did they upset you? Like, what happened to that one playing group? I'm like, no, they just met the wrong NPC.
Yeah. Well, 2 years ago, we talk about, families getting involved. 2 years ago, we had a family that was staying at the hotel for something else.
Yes, I remember.
And they were captivated by all the activity that was happening even so late at night in the convention space behind the hotel. As they came over to see what we were all about, we said, well, come on in, check it out. We have some family events for kids. We have a number of things happening. And, if you like it, come back and pay for a ticket and enjoy it. And they came back the next day and they bought a ticket and they went in and with their 2 kids and had a great time.
And I think I've seen them back since.
They've been back since.
Yeah.
All right. So. Well, guys, we got to get ready to wrap up because Kaiju Labs, we still have some more stuff going on.
One more thing, really quick. If you can't happen to make it out to Round Rock, look for your local gaming convention.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Always support your local gaming convention.
I will actually put up a list on the website, and I will point that list through a slide.
So yes. But yes, right now, support your local gaming conventions. There's so many of them, and so many good ones out there, run by people with a lot of passion. You'll know when you walk into the convention, okay, these people mean it. They're here for the right reasons, because it will feel like your table. Yeah. It will hopefully feel like your table, at least if you're just starting off. Well, guys, like I said, Kaiju Labs is still going to be going on next episode. I think it's going to be very interesting because, knowing Kaiju Labs, we always do. We've got some new projects up, and we have some old projects returning. But right now, we're going to let you guys go. But next episode, it's going to be system versus setting. We're going to start off everything with what the difference between a system and a setting is. So, catch you guys later.
Bye, y'all.
And welcome to the Mary Sue game, where we turn your maladaptive daydreaming into a competition. Woohoo! Today's battle is Star Wars. Okay, and as it's the new year, we have a new crew.
Woo! We have Courtney now instead of Lauren.
I already missed the old crew.
Izzy? Where is your sparkly dress? We all said we would dress up in sparkly dresses to represent the new year. Fortunately for you, I do have a hat.
Amanda, always coming through. But Lauren will be back next week. She's at a 17 concert.
What?
K-pop.
K-pop.
Okay.
Don't worry, there aren't 17 members. There are 13 members.
That's still
And they're all older than 17 as well. We don't understand why their number is 17.
I've been told a story. Apparently, it was the original concept was there was going to be a 17-year age gap between the youngest and the oldest member. But then they realized that was going to be like 13 and like something like 30 something, and they're like, that's weird.
Yeah, no. Hey, at least it's better than AKB48. J-pop group that does have 48.
Yes.
J-pop idol group that has 48 members
Yes.
and a dedicated stage enough. Yeah.
Well, today competing, we have Gavin defending his belt against Kyle.
I
Super
might have
exciting.
my work cut out for me because he's a fellow Star Wars nerd. He built a Gonk droid.
Yeah, I'm actually printing the feet as we speak.
Yeah, so I might actually have some challenge. Last time Pocky wasn't much of a challenge. He's not a Star Wars nerd.
Oh,
I got a Star Wars nerd now.
It's game on.
Okay.
And so because you're defending, you get to go for 10 pounds of glitter, as
Yeah.
we have established.
10 pounds of glitter. And while we're over at this table, let's go ahead and introduce our judges. As normal, we've got Amanda
Hi.
in this beautiful, lovely green dress. Courtney, taking the place of Lauren right now, this beautiful silver top. And Izzy, who did not read our group text.
Izzy never reads a group text.
Why is she in it? Okay, so let's go ahead and go over our rules. So our two competitors have been working on their fan fiction, their Mary Sue fan fiction. They're going to be judged based on originality, adherence to canon, personal life details, and overused tropes. They will have 5 minutes to choose from our random trope spinner.
Woo!
So let's go ahead and talk about these tropes that we have. First one up is amnesia.
Really?
So a character must get amnesia.
I saved you from the hair cutting one. You're welcome.
It's a fine one. Then we have a masquerade.
Well, that could be anything.
Like,
Like masquerade ball.
Like a masquerade ball.
Think New Year's.
New
Think
Year's
This
masquerade
is what
ball.
we're gonna get stuck with. That's just working now.
okay.
We still have more tropes to go through.
Okay.
Potential tropes. Best friend's brother.
It's a one for me.
Okay.
So one of your characters must have a crush on their best friend's brother.
Okay.
I think everything I read is
midnight
about to go out the window.
What?
A midnight kiss. A kiss at midnight. Count down the new year.
Okay.
There's many ways to interpret that. Don't feel bad yet.
There are lots of ways to.
Wet clothes.
I like in anime, you always get wet clothes and then you get sick, and so you have to take off your wet clothes very quickly.
Yeah,
Have
so
that
you don't get
cutesy ro-
sick.
Cutesy romantic moment. Let the cutesy.
A lot of fan fiction tropes are
Sorry.
cute romantic, guys. New
man.
Year's resolution. Characters must have a New Year's resolution.
All right.
I hope it's that.
I did too.
We're not done. Next,
Oh man.
we have single parent. One of a character in your story must be a single parent.
I want it. I want it.
Gym buddies.
Don't want it.
Bunnies or bunnies?
Buddies. B-U-D-D-I-E-S.
This should include some sort of training montage or something like that, in which they are working together.
Oh
A
lord.
lot of these are chosen from our random trope ball. So
Someone should burn that ball. I'm just saying now.
Like it's metal.
it's metal, Gavin.
It'll still burn and melt.
I need to have words with the maker of this
Okay.
ball.
We are ready to spin and choose our trope. Best friend's brother.
What is it?
Best friend's brother. So a character in your fan fiction must have a crush on their best friend's brother.
You all are evil.
I have to deal with a dream scoop.
Dreamscape is mean?
Dream sequence was stupid, and I had to deal with that.
All right, so
Are you ready to start your
You have
5
to-
minutes?
You have to figure out how to insert it in your story.
Great.
You now have 5 minutes to fit best friend's brother into your fan fiction. Starting now. So, I guess first we should start talking about Star Wars a little bit. So, the last movie came out.
It did come out. We will have no spoilers because Courtney has not seen it and has requested no spoilers. So please keep that in mind, dear contestants, to have no spoilers for episode 9.
Can I say my controversial opinion about episode 9?
As long as it doesn't get me
Yeah,
killed.
Cats is better than episode 9.
Yeah, she's just wrong.
Hot take.
She also thinks that the prequels are the best, so you know what?
prequels
She's
are
just
the best.
wrong with everything.
You rate the Star Wars movies based on Padme's wardrobe. So
No.
2 is the best, followed by 1, and then 3, and then the rest are irrelevant.
You are just 100% wrong. Like,
Based on my judgment of Star Wars, that's exactly how it goes. Padme's wardrobe is the measuring stick
So-
of Star
Opinion
Wars.
is not shared, by the way.
this opinion is very much not shared. Anyway, so Star Wars is a really interesting
These
universe.
opinions do not reflect the opinions of the show.
Yeah. The opinions of the crazy person over there do not reflect the opinions of the rest of us sane people.
So please do not burn us down. Just saying. But no, Star
By
Wars
my
is
measuring
very
stick, I'm
fun.
right.
So Star Wars is it's a great open-ended universe in which you can be literally anything. It's a great self-insert universe.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
To the point where, like, there are 3 different role-playing game systems dedicated to Star Wars. There's a D6 system, there's a D20 hack, and then there's the official Fantasy Flight release called Age of Rebellion. And it's really, really fun to play in that universe. And I currently have a character in the Fantasy Flight game who is definitely not a self-insert character. That was actually the first character I played. It was a skinny little Twi'lek.
So-
armor slave.
What are some of the rules for Star Wars?
Ooh,
What makes it Star Wars?
Had to have the Force in there somewhere.
yeah, there's
What
a
is the
Force.
Right
Force?
there. That's basically
That's
the main
a
rule.
good question. What is the Force?
No one knows and no one cares. It just has to
It's
exist.
just an
It just exists.
It's the Force that exists.
It's the Force.
It has a light side, a dark side,
Does
and
it
areas
really?
in between.
That's a very good question that we will
balance.
not go into.
Yeah, please.
Because that would lead to the midichlorians, and we don't acknowledge midichlorians.
I was just going to say it's an existential question that has no actual answer.
There's also
Space magic, though.
It's space magic.
it's space magic. And really that's kind of what defies Star Wars is that you're going to have some rebel group and you're going to have some government. One is good and one is evil. Who is what? You get to decide.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the Force is the space magic that lets people control other people, basically.
Yes.
That's all you need in order to have a Star Wars universe.
It's about overthrowing the government, the oppressive government.
It's a thinly veiled fantasy disguised as a sci-fi movie.
Yes.
What's really nice is that because you have the prequels, the original, and now the new trilogy, along with all the books you could go with, there's just so much content in there. You can pick any timeline.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
you
only
can
Star
read
Trek book I ever read.
Star Trek or Star Wars?
Star Wars. I've read some Star Trek books too. The only Star Wars book I read, I don't even know if I finished it, but it took place after Phantom Menace because it had little Anakin on the cover
Oh no.
in a hallway, and it was like when he just joined the school, Padawan school.
So you can't tell this one's really into the prequels.
I love
but
prequels.
as I was saying, there's just so many
Yeah.
there's so much opportunity in
Yeah.
the show, in everything.
I have a question for y'all. Y'all being lit nerds. When y'all were in English, did your English teachers use the first 3 movies, the original trilogy, as the hero cycle? Oh my
Yep.
god, that was my favorite.
That is pretty much
I never
classically
got that.
taught.
I'm
Oh my
jealous.
god. Yeah, no, I don't know if it was AP or just regular English, but high school, every year, first things first, we got to watch Star Wars as part of our hero cycle year.
Nice.
That was usually middle school for me, but yeah.
It was high. I don't remember if it was high school. No, it was middle school because it was like my favorite
All right,
English teacher ever.
So, let's talk about the trope now. Best friend's brother.
Yes.
Yes.
So, this is iconically from the song from Nickelodeon's Victorious.
My best friend's brother is the one for me. BFB. BFB.
So, basically, in the song, the young girl singing the song has a crush on her best friend's older brother. He's a drummer,
Drummer
and
and
he's 6'3".
Okay, so the drummer finally gets the girl, by the way.
Yes. So you can have the sister be the best friend being aware that her friend is in love with her brother, and she can secretly ship it, or she can be like, no, I hate this, don't do this to me. Or it can say a secret. There are a lot of different avenues that you can take this best friend's brother.
It can create a lot of tension and a lot of drama in your story.
And that is our 5 minutes.
Lord help me.
That will be fine.
So Gavin, I believe you're going first.
I will go first down this train wreck tunnel of a fanfic we're gonna do.
I'm so excited. Kyle, you get to sit next to me now. How would you like your time signals?
Wave hysterically at me. I don't care.
How
Give
long
me
do we
at
have?
least a
5
2 and a
minutes to
1.
6 minutes.
We have 6 minutes to read it.
All right, are we ready?
No.
This is the first time I've been on assignment from the Emperor himself. I mean, to be in his presence is terrifying enough, but to hope I came out alive was even scarier. I heard the stories, I've seen the victims, but here I am in the shuttle with my fellow elite trooper out to hunt on the Emperor's orders. I'm still sweating in my armor. My co-hunter, he doesn't say much, but his reputation precedes him. He's been out on like 40 or so hunts before this, loves the bloodlust and what it brings with him. Other troopers, they seem to be afraid of him. I'm just curious as to what makes him tick. I don't think he was in the Clone Wars, and since the Empire formed and the Jedi fell, things around the galaxy have been in turmoil, so who knows how this guy fell into the Stormtrooper game. We're an elite squad of troopers that go out on hunts, usually from Lord Vader, but to be sent by the Emperor himself, that's another story. So here I sit with my silent partner as we approach this dead planet of Klaseron. It's in the middle of nowhere outer rim, of course, it would be. We hit some turbulence as our pilot says we are nearing the landing zone. I glance out the window to see a rocky, scarred surface of the planet. It's amazing anything could even be here, but the Emperor was very exact in his instructions. We have barely landed with my partners on his feet, weapon drawn. I get up as the hiss of the latch door signals that it's opening. The windy surface swirls around us as we depart. All around us are the remains of the once great civilization this planet had. Ruined buildings, charred and fossilized remains. It's altogether rather creepy. Though my partner doesn't seem to notice. He is single-mindedly following the tracking signal, bones crunching beneath his boots. This way, he says, I'm surprised he actually talks. I've never heard him talk. We make our way over to the desolate surface to what looks to have once been an amazing palace. As we enter, the weather and its noise dies out behind us as the structure seems to have withstood the devastation of wars long since past. My partner is in full-on hunter mode, checking corners. I'm eyeing the dark spaces around us looking. We hear a rock fall in a room down the corridor, and all of a sudden our instincts are on high alert. The Emperor was right. It's here. I can feel it. My partner can feel it. I can practically see him smiling under his helmet. He lives for this stuff. We round to a darkened room. We don't see anything. We stand in the doorway for a moment until my partner flips on his visor light. The room is bathed in light. We see it's been lived in, not very well, but in front of us, huddled, is a crippled, burnt, scar-covered man panting. He is hunched over with his robes tattered. One eye is white, the other looks at us in fear. One hand is missing as he tries to cover himself. Found you, my partner says with joy. He raises his gun to fire. I raise my hand. This is not the Jedi you're looking for, I say. I have to push with the Force hard on this guy. He shakes his head and lowers his gun slowly. I'll take care of this, I say, still extruding the Force. Wait for me outside. I'll leave this one to you, my partner says, and he heads outside. When he's gone, I turn to the man, who looks surprised. I approach him. Master Windu? I see the light in his eye flash. It's me, your old apprentice, Jedi Stone. I see the life come back to him, just very slowly. And he tries to stand. I calm him and I help him up. How is all he can say as a tear comes to his good eye. It wasn't easy, but you're safe now. I take off my helmet and look at my one-time mentor. How did I not sense you, he asks. A trick, I reply, one that allowed me to be in the Empire and save the lost Jedi. She'll teach you too, and take you to safety, but I have to go. I hand in the metal card with the flat button. Use this when we are gone, and Ahsoka will come for you. Why, Mace weeps. All is lost. I look at him in the eyes again. Not according to Kenobi. He stops, and the light comes across his face. But I need something from you. Mace knowingly waves his handless arm to the corner. I open the box there and find his lightsaber. I need this to prove to the Emperor that you are gone. Be careful, Mace tells me. I will, I reply. Mace half smiles at me. Whatever happened to that thing you had for that guy? Your brother, I laugh. A Jedi doesn't know true love. I take one last look at him. We will meet again somewhere after all of this. May the Force be with you. I put my helmet on and run back to the ship. My partner is pleased that I finished off the Jedi and I got the treasure lightsaber. Pats me on the shoulder and says he hopes we get partnered up again. I nod and watch as the planet falls away and we return to Coruscant, wondering how long I'll be able to hide my Force powers from the Sith in order to save the Jedi, whichever ones that I can. It's gonna be one hell of a new year. And boom! That's it!
Good job.
Good job, right? Yes, yes.
Yes.
Kyle,
Oh, yeah.
I believe it's now your turn.
Damn it. I'm not ready.
I'm really upset that you can't see your fanfic graphic I made for you.
I don't know it. All right, it's my first time. Be gentle.
Oh, they won't be, trust me.
How would you like your time signals?
I don't know. It's 11 pages.
Okay,
Just wave at me.
okay. Whenever you're ready.
Ready? 3, 2, 1. The Battle of Endor raged outside the windows of the Star Destroyer Arrakis. Captain Elik, the raggedly handsome but stern leader, watched. A lone squad of X-Wing peels off towards the Arrakis, behind them a pair of Y-Wing bombers. Sir, launch fighters? No, ready turbo lasers. The Strident is too close, sir. Don't worry about it, he said. The bridge took a hit. Sir, the Devastator has ordered all fighters to deploy. Very well, he says, gritting his teeth. Elik watched as Onyx Squadron tore towards the enemy ships. Suddenly, an explosion. The flagship was crashing, the Super Star Destroyer heading straight towards the Death Star. Captain Elik stayed unmoved, fists clenched, watching the fighters. One by one, Onyx Squadron ignited into balls of dust, the captain's eyes filled with tears. One lone fighter turned, screaming back towards the destroyer. Open comms, Elik yelled. The X-Wing behind showed no mercy. Captain Elik watched as the last member of Onyx died. The bridge was silent. Fire all turbo lasers. Flak. But sir, fire! The rebels didn't see it coming, and neither did the destroyer beside them. Sir, the Strident is hailing us. Keep firing, Elik watched as one X-Wing broke off from the rest. Do not let that fighter escape. The rest of the squadron was gone, the Strident crippled and turning towards the Arrakis. Captain Elik watched as the X-Wing jumped to light speed, and then the Death Star exploded. Paxman Station was a haven drilled into the side of an asteroid, a perfect place for someone to hide. Navarg sat in the cockpit of his X-Wing in desperate need of a shave. His R4 beeped behind him. Yes, we're landing. He landed on a recessed pad, hoping to keep from drawing eyes. It didn't work. A heavily armed welcoming committee waited just outside. He opened the canopy. Pocky! He exclaimed. Good to see you. The attractive Rodian was a family member of his best friend from the Rebellion Flight Academy. Brother, maybe? I can't remember. But the Rodian wagged a sucker finger at him and gestured at the gang surrounding him. Tokatatisto, eh! A protocol droid piped up. A cursed man is not welcome, he said. I'm not cursed. A shadow fell over the pad. He turned to see it. After all this time, months running, and it always found him. The damaged Star Destroyer hung just outside the crevice of the asteroid. Bobadadisto. The protocol droid chimed in. You are cursed. And he says, I am rich. Captain Elik walked onto the platform, flanked by his troopers. His face unshaved, but still commanding the respect of everyone present. A ruggishly handsome man. He marched onto the platform and straight toward Navarg. Listen, I don't know why, Navarg started. Captain Elik picked him up by the throat. Endor, he said, were you there? Navarg stared with eyes wide open, gasping for air. Were you there? Navarg nodded. Elik felt the rage grow, the power. Onyx Squadron, he choked. My son. The throat snapped in his hands. The only sound was the ships landing in distant docks. Something was in the ship. Check the ship, he ordered. A stormtrooper pulled something glowing from the cockpit. The R4 unit began to wail. A small cube glowing blue. The Force was calling to him. and he was going to use it however he thought he could.
That's not fair. I don't speak alien languages in Star Wars. I could just go boop, 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 beep, beep, in R2. Good job.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's gonna be time.
All right, thank you so much. Those were both really great. So let's go ahead and talk to our judges.
I get to start, right? Because if you don't start with me, I think I might go insane.
Okay.
The last time you trained this up on us, and I could not handle that, Robin.
Okay. I guess we'll start with Amanda since she is
you.
demanding it. Whose pick do you want to start with?
I'm sorry, Gavin's. He went first.
Okay. We're starting with Kyle's.
She's being vicious now.
What good?
I hate you.
Okay, go ahead. Go with Gavin's.
Thank you.
Must.
I mean, that's how our notes are arranged.
Yeah.
Go with Gavin's.
You have her permission.
I really enjoyed your fit, Gavin. I really liked how the twist there of being, I thought you were just going to be Stormtrooper the entire time, and then all of a sudden you were Jedi, and that was a really good twist. I was not expecting it, so I thought it was really good. You did nail the best friend's brother there at the very end. I was very proud of you for all your protesting.
So for Kevin's pick, I really liked the flow and the layout. The banter was pretty good. As you were getting to that little reveal, I was thinking, you're a little mouthy for a trooper, aren't you? And then, of course, turns out double agent. I like that little detailing. I loved the detailing of the trope inclusion. It was nice and seamless in there.
That was hard to do. I was like,
I'm actually really impressed you managed to integrate it that seamlessly for how random and last minute that trope inclusion was. So,
random and last minute keywords there.
That's the concept of the show.
You should
was
also,
good.
like,
It
we
was
should
good.
pick out our tropes next time. You just want to see what happens.
No.
No, that was
that's not
fun.
this It's more fun for us this way.
Yes,
Oh,
I'm more
yeah, I
fun
can
and
tell.
entertaining.
First off, it's my show.
I'm not gonna lie, like, Gym Buddies was for me just as bad. I was like, oh great.
All right.
Oh,
Izzy?
yes.
Izzy.
Yeah, so I really liked it, like, as far as the setting, like, pulling up to, like, just a planet completely in ruin, and as well as a Jedi doesn't know true love, like, that reveal was great.
Because they can't get married.
Star-crossed lovers. Don't just love that.
No!
Drama queen.
Amanda, what did you think of Kyle's?
I really liked yours as well. I liked how even though you used the trope of even rugged is still commanded to everybody. And that was very good use of that trope for your Mary Sue. I thought it was just a really interesting perspective to take. I do have one question. The best friends brothers. Now I could just be stupid and I just didn't catch that, but
It was supposed to be the Rhodian. I could the Rhodians.
He said in an alien language.
In
That's why we
a-
didn't catch it.
Yeah.
okay.
Got you, bro.
It's supposed to be Pocky,
Yeah, no, he was
the
yeah,
brother.
the brother
Okay.
of Pac. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I do love that detailing. I caught it like the moment on screen right before you started reading that, and it took everything in me just to not bust up laughing because I loved that detail. I did like that you included the Rhodian language in there, and it's just you had some really good inflection. You rolled with it, and both of y'all did really good on those last minute inclusions that we like. So, yeah.
All right, Izzy?
Yeah, I agree. I liked a lot of it. Like, I liked the going out of your way to do the voices and the languages. It was funny that you kept repeating the ruggedly handsome, which definitely is stereotypical Mary Sue, so that's great. Starting in the middle of battle was good as well, and overall, like, you know, just delivery was good, and it kind of felt like we were in the middle of a battle.
Okay. Do I want to take a few moments and cast your votes?
Yes.
Okay. While they do that, let's go ahead and get y'all up front.
Let's do this. So how many Star Wars languages do you speak?
That's classified.
Like for real?
We'll have to. That's another game.
No peeking.
I'm not reading.
You were peeking.
I can't read.
There's no
upside
peeking.
down.
Warren's not here, so there's no peeking.
How do we do it? Like that?
But just
I don't know. I need comfort.
she'll just take it.
And now, the winner of the second Mary Sue battle is Gavin.
Good job, though. I thought I totally lost it when you spoke an alien language. I was like, I'm done.
That was too good.
Both of y'all did
Here's
very,
10
it was a
pounds
hard
of
choice.
glitter.
It was. It
Yes.
was really good.
Next time. Now I understand. Next time.
This looks really good.
I did really good.
You did really, really good.
Over 20 hours of work on that.
I thought that was a martini glass, but it's upside down for me.
Logo.
It looks like a martini glass the way I was looking at it.
Beaker.
Thank you so much for joining us this week for the Mary Sue game Battle Star Wars. Make sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Don't worry, I won't do the rap. That's next month.
Oh Lord.
You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel. And next week, we actually won't be in the studio. They've got something going on, but make sure to join us on the 28th for Makers Arena.
Which we don't know what they're going to be making. See, now he speaks how do you? Y'all.
Thank you.
That's an impressive amount of languages for a
Yeah.
for a
For a human.
for human.
Okay, that was super fun.
That was a lot of fun.
It took me a second to realize he's speaking an alien language. God damn it.
I need more Mary Sue in my next time. I need a little bit.